Kan?
Okay, so recording is done. Awesome. So so first of all, thank you everyone for joining us today, joining me and Hanie for this second round, part 2 of how do we prepare for interview. Alamak, Hanie.
Alamak.
Again.
Ayah. Sorry. But you guys can hear me or not?
Yeah, we can hear you. So
okay, so I'm kind of pushing stuff around.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, so I'll start with a poll first, just to understand more about you guys. So the first one is, did you attend the last webinar? So I'm curious how many attended the first part, and did you, or if you didn't, whether you watched the YouTube recording, and that's why you are here today to learn about the part 2 of this interview preparation. Okay. So actually quite a few of you are the first time to this interview session. Okay. Quite interesting. Share result. So most of you haven't been to the part 1. So unfortunately, we won't be able to cover everything again. But there is a YouTube recording that you can look at after this to get the first part of our sharing the other day. And then the second question I have. Second question. Okay, kejap.
Makan ke belum?
The second question, if I can find it. Okay, right. So the second question is about, if you think back up to your last interview, how many of you receive any feedback? Meaning that someone call you back to say, okay, if you got the job, obviously it's great. But if you didn't get the job, then did they explain why you didn't get the job and how could you improve better or for your next interview? Okay, so far only 7 of you answered. So the rest maybe dah lama tak interview kot. Okay, I'll stop the poll now. So half of you answered, and basically most of you have never received a feedback after your interview, after the last interview that you attended. And the more people I speak to, this is a common problem actually, that you don't get any feedback after your interview, and therefore you don't really know what to improve. You don't know what went wrong, or was it you did everything good, but then it was just so happened there was another better candidate. And this is a real problem. And therefore why I encourage people to have interview practice is because your chances are you're not going to get the interview feedback from the interview. Therefore, make sure you find the feedback from your friends, from your colleagues, if you trust them, and maybe your family as well, so that you go into your next interview ready as best as you can. You want to be in the best shape for the interview, yeah? Okay, great. So let me share my screen and we go into our presentation today. Okay, can you see my screen now? Oh, no. Yes.
I see some familiar names here, Zah.
Oh, yeah?
Tu my sister pun kat sini rupanya.
Your sister pun kat sini.
Oh, there you go.
Now I feel pressure.
Well, I should feel pressured.
What's going on? Kejap ya. Sorry. Right. Kejap. Share my screen.
Macam CNN.
Ini tak pro lagi lah.
Tak apa. Okay.
Okay.
Tu dia.
Alright. Okay, now ready. So, okay, so today is the
Yes.
part 2 of our preparation for interview, and a bit of intro about myself. I'm a medical doctor. For those who still don't know, I am a real doctor some time ago. Currently working in a pharmaceutical company. And what I bring in terms of experience is my international experience. I work in the UK, in Germany, and also US. And now happily back working in Malaysia. And in the last few years, my focus have been more about helping my team in a company move up in their career, and now also helping others out there in your career advancement. And in terms of what I want to do in terms of my guidance for people who are thinking about moving up their career is focusing on what you're writing on your CV, your LinkedIn profile, how you prepare for interview, and how is your public presentation, how is your public speaking skill, and then your work performance, your image, and then your exposure, your network. And I've covered the CV and LinkedIn in another training session, which you can look up. And we did a bit of the interview already, and the other half we are doing today. And to help me with this is the best person around for this topic, which is Hanie. So I'll let Hanie introduce herself tonight.
Allah. Last bit to do the pitching of myself. Okay, so hi guys, thanks Azaha. It's really a pleasure to come back to your show. And I know that this topic is pretty much always a hot topic, yeah. So basically what I do is, for those of you who have yet to get to know me and hopefully to love me, I am a co-founder of Dragonfire Corporate Solutions Rambat. We're a management consulting firm. We specialize in career management, in career management, yeah. And within the circle, I am known as the career doctor. So we have Dr. Azaha, who is a real doctor, and you have a career coach with a brand name of the career doctor. So I kind of diagnose problems, but I prescribe medicine as well. Sometimes I carry ruler. Okay, so that's part of my prescription. Unlike you, Azaha.
Bawa rotan.
Bawa rotan je. Yeah, so that's me. And I've been in the industry not too long. Might have been about 25 years. So there you go. I think it's a bit long. It's a bit long, but it has been really wonderful. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you very much, Hanie. And your experience is range from, I know you do work with the undergrads to the C-level. So you have a range of ability, you have a range of experience, and that's really unique in my opinion, because not many people can say they have that breadth of experience.
Yes, actually, when we first started the company, we were focusing on the fresh grads, you know, because there were some really huge requirement, or rather need. It still does, but however, over the years, we have shifted the focus to middle managers as well as C-suites. So I also work with board members or those who aspire to go to become board members as well. But I must tell you this, Azaha, as much as it's really enjoyable to work with the middle managers, you know, the C-level, but somehow working with fresh grads, you know, the fulfillment to dia lain tu tak? Dia punya happiness tu lain.
I think more appreciative kot.
I tak tahulah, dia punya tu memang lain lah, seriously, yeah. So that's why I still go back to I still do some adjunct what do you call that, lecturing for fresh grads in some of the universities, you know, just sharing some of the skill set that I think they ought to have when they come out to the world of work.
Right, beyond the knowledge, it's the soft skills that they need.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Critical skill sets.
That's right.
Mm,
Okay, so
okay.
the last time what we covered already, this question that how do we prepare for the interview? Yep. And then what are the common interview questions that we
Mm,
are likely to hear during the interview?
mm,
We covered all that already. And then we managed to discuss a bit about what's the mindset that you need going into an interview. So all these
yeah,
we covered in part 1 already.
yeah,
And for those who didn't attend, you can check the video recording if you want to hear what we discussed the last time. So
yes,
today, Hanie, we are going to start with this one. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
First one is about what are the interviewers looking for? So we have that one hour time slot normally. What
Yeah.
are we on this side looking for all the people that are coming to the interview?
Yes. What are the interviewers looking for? You know, we often think that interviewers need complex tau. Which sometimes they are lah, okay? Because sometimes they throw you off by asking you really weird questions. Okay, sometimes soalan-soalan tu you tak pernah dengar pun, but that's besides the point. So perhaps tonight we're going to discuss some of the common ones.
Yep.
What they are looking for lah. I think the most important part is to turn up. Right?
Interview skill 101. Turn up
Yeah,
for your
interview skill.
interview.
Interview skill 101. The first thing is to turn up lah. You janganlah tak turn up. Ini kan kita marah kita marah recruiter, kita kena ghosted, right? Bila kita pergi interview orang tak bagi feedback and all that. But I think at the end of the day we must maintain our professionalism first. Kan? So the first thing
Has it happened to you, Hanie?
Oh my God, ghosted, absolutely. I mean, I'm
really?
talking,
Okay.
oh yeah, ghosted from after submission of application. And mind you, my time, we didn't have all this social media, you know, we didn't have all the emails. So we literally have to write our application letter and we had to go to balai post office, lick the stamp and all that and drop off. Kan? Jadi kadang-kadang bila ada phone call, phone tu kita tak ada mobile phone, kita ada phone kat rumah aje. So people call in and say, hey, I want to meet up with you, so and so and so. Okay, kalau ada, okay lah. But all this ghosting ni happened years ago. It hasn't changed, except that the way it's being done, right? So I think as a candidate, we cannot control how the organization respond or treat in the first line like this, but we can maintain our professionalism by turning up first. I pernah turn up for interview, tengok office tak ada orang.
Okay.
Ada, sebab they forgot to pencil in the interview, so everybody went offsite.
Oh no, okay.
That time mana ada mobile phone ni, you nak call orang tak ada, so you tunggu sejam. I was young then, okay, so the patience, the level of patience tu tinggi lah lagi kan.
Right,
So tunggulah sejam, lepas tu rasa macam tak ada orang, dia datang office, tak apalah kita pun baliklah.
Okay. Wow, that's really unfortunate, right? So
yeah.
obviously, so the first message is make sure you turn up for your interview.
Yeah. So first, the 101 is turn up, and of course, turn up on time.
Yep.
Right, so turn up on time. Or my advice, usually my advice is to turn up about half an hour early. Tak apa, earlier pun tak apa. Simply because Azhar selalu kan bila some excitement is going to happen, kita sakit perut kan, we have this tummy ache.
Yep. So
Right?
sampai awal sikit lah. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
jangan makan beforehand.
Janganlah makan pedas-pedas, janganlah makan your petai and your jering before the interview, especially right after lunch hour. You know, sometimes your interview session happens in the afternoon. So my advice is turn up. Number one, turn up earlier or on time. A few minutes tak apa. The reason being is that because when we are excited or when we are nervous, whichever way, sometimes the feeling is just more or less the same, is that you get all of this funny feeling, you know, your tummy ache, you need to go, and perhaps you have to touch up, for example. And those of us who are on bike, you know, you run on the bike with your jackets and all that, and sometimes sweaty. So come in with an extra pair of baju lah, kan, boleh je. That's why you need some time to prepare. Masuklah washroom mana-mana, just change or make sure you ciumlah bau apa-apa yang tak sepatutnya ada kat situ. You know, make sure you have your deodorant earlier, make sure no smell, socks is fine. So basically the grooming. But we only have like 5 seconds to make that first impression. And I know, Azhar, you've run some sessions on making the first impressions.
That's right.
Very, very
It's
important.
5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds, right? Yes, for the brain to figure out whether I'm going to like you for the next while or not. So very, very crucial. No.
Yeah. Okay, I think the first impression is really key, and when you say coming in early, it also helps to calm you down, kan? Tak kelang kabut, because you want to be in a almost a zen state coming into the interview, very focused. Not worrying that you park your car somewhere illegal or whatever because you're late, because you want to be in the right mindset coming into the
Yes.
So during the 1 hour interview, Hanie, what are the competency, the skills that you're looking for when you're talking to the interviewer? The people being interviewed.
It depends on what level of applicants. So to my experience, selalunya the junior roles, and when they run an interview session yang ramai-ramai ni, so there are a few things that they will be looking out for. And obviously because sebab ramai, sometimes they do mass recruitment, they will put you in a group setting. There might be like 5 or 10 or something like that. It depends lah kalau ramai. Jadinya, what would the interviewers be looking for is someone who can stand up from the rest, who can be unique. Everyone is unique, fine. But in your uniqueness, sometimes you don't say. You can't say, or you don't know how to articulate. So make sure that you are you stand up from the rest. For example, you ask questions. Of course, you ask the right questions or proper question, relevant questions, and also being able to articulate your uniqueness, your skills, and what you can contribute for the organization. Making sure that JD tu you baca lah awal-awal dulu. Janganlah 5 minit belum you masuk tu baru nak baca JD. Kan itulah preparation. Tu ada I have encountered candidates yang masuk, memang dia tanya, company you ni kan buat apa
Company nama apa?
Company nama apa? Alamak. Ada. Jadi we don't want to be caught in such situation where people dah lah 5 second you tak betul, you know. And there's a double whammy pula. You tanya ini role apa, company apa, you buat apa. You know, preparation, I think, is very, very crucial. So some of the things that interviewers would be looking for the first at least few minutes is your ability to be to articulate about yourself first. So you're not even asked about the vision and mission, you know, about the JD and skill set and all that. So being able to articulate about yourself, and that's why I think the first key question that we need to master is tell me about yourself. So we know that. Tell me about yourself. Very tricky question. Very deceiving pun. Kan? Bunyinya macam like so simple, and they start talking about the grandmother, grandfather, tak boleh lah.
It is simple. It is us who make it complicated.
Betul Azhar. What else would they be looking for? An articulation of your contribution or your skill set or your experience in alignment to what the requirement is. And again, going back to the JD, but don't stop just at the JD tu, sebab kadang-kadang JD dia pun macam tak complete. So we must be able to do research about the organization, what others are doing at the same time in terms of that role specific. What else would they be doing? Would they be managing a team? Would they need to have some other additional technical skills? And sometimes some companies have removed certain information in regards to the role, simply because they want to see whether are you aware or not? Did you catch on some of the missing stuff in the job description? And sometimes some of these candidates, they realize it, but they don't ask.
I think in terms of the preparation, what I tell people that I work with is, you know who your competition is roughly. Who else are applying for this role? Therefore, think about what is it that's going to differentiate you. So three or four things that's going to differentiate you. And the other day I was thinking, actually, when we go see a movie, we don't remember everything about the movie. We remember like 3-4 things, right? Bila dah balik, we remember, okay, there were 3-4 things that were important from the movie. And that's the same interview. You want them to remember 3 or 4 things about you after the interview, because they're not going to remember everything. Like sometimes I interview 4 people in a day. I'm not going to remember. I write down, but if what really sticks to you is the key points, and that's the one every candidate needs to work on. What are my key points, in a way?
Agree.
To make me memorable.
Yes, agree. And the first thing is the visual presentation. The visual presentation. Either you are really, really smart looking, or you are the worst looking dude or dudette for the day.
That's both memorable.
Both memorable. Either you wear too much cologne for the day pun ya juga, or you're the worst smelling person for the day as well. Pun ada juga. Kan? So it works both ways. Another element, I think, Azhar, very important, at least to my mind, is that the ability for us to articulate what the company is doing, or what kind of business they are into. So it's not just about reciting what's in their website. I think this is also where our research skills needs to come in. You don't really have to go everywhere to look for information. I think enough if they have, for example, new projects, if it's a publishing house, for example, the kind of new books that they have published. If it's a property developer, what are the new properties that they have launched recently, or have they won a certain award, for example, last year? So simple things to demonstrate that you have done some research and taking interest about the organization. And this is where I think that when they ask you questions such as why do you think you are the best candidate? So instead of telling PR pasal you dahulu kan, cerita pasal dia punya vision ni ke, that the organization is working towards being green, for example, and that aligns to your values. So that's an alignment, instead of just terus nak cakap pasal diri you. Dia macam nak pergi dating macam tu. You talk everything about yourself, dia terus shutters go down. You kena cakap
Yeah.
kat dia, dia cantik, dia lawa, you know, dia baik, macam tu. That's the analogy lah.
True. I mean, people like compliments, kan?
Yeah.
It lowers down your barrier when you do that. So it's
Yeah.
all part
Yes.
of communication psychology, I would say.
Absolutely. And I also think that they're also very important for an articulation or some of the skill set required in the JD. For example, if the JD says that you'll be managing a team of, I don't know, 5, 10, 2, whatever, that you are able to articulate, you know, that certain leadership behaviors that demonstrates your leadership skills. And this is where sometimes there are types of question, behavioral or situational questions that might come up. So very important for candidates to understand what's the difference and how to answer these questions.
Yep. Very, very hard, that one, actually. Not so.
Yalah.
What character, Hanie? How do you judge a person's character?
Oh, gosh, you know, so that's the thing. How do you judge a person's character? I know that some of the approach or methodology is to ask situational or behavioral question lah. Tapi kan, I rasa it will not capture it as refined as when you put all these candidates in a room and give them a certain task. Then you observe. Then you see.
Interesting, that one. I've never done that, actually.
Never done that? Oh my. Yeah, so we have worked with a few setups before where they do mass recruitment, Azhar. Memang ramai gila. Bila kata ramai gila, dia punya recruitment proses tu 2 hari. Sebab dia ramai. Jadi how do you assess a certain character, right? And of course, there are so many behaviors or traits that they want to capture, but a person cannot be assessed in such a way in such a short time to capture all of this. So we help some of these clients to kind of identify a few key traits and behaviors. You know, like for example, macam you lah, you nak recruit your team kan, apa dia? You nak maybe honesty. Okay, some of the things that you want to capture is honesty, a little bit of leadership skills. So some of the good values, your core values that you want to capture. All right, team, for example, teaming, ability to team with other people, flexibility, you know, that kind of stuff. So I remember one time we were working with this company. It's an organization, it's non-profit. Ramai kot 200 orang masuk dalam hall ni, kita bagi dia activity, half a day activity. So we observe, there are a few observers to observe elements such as leadership, empathy, communication, of course communication ni presentation skills and all that, and yeah. So some thought that to be the best candidate is to be the loudest.
To be heard.
To be heard, you know, to be expressive, the most expressive, you know, the loudest, take charge of everything. But being a leader doesn't mean that way at all.
Yeah, that's right. You can lead in many different ways. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think character is like you said, you need more than 1 hour to judge it.
Yeah.
However, that's usually the time that we have, 1 hour to judge.
Yalah.
And when people ask me, how do I do it? It's gut feeling.
Itu you dah fine tune you punya gut feeling tu.
Yeah,
over the years.
You know, from the answers to the questions, and you obviously observe how people react to question and answers, and difficult question, and you try and make your best judgment of character, and then
and hopefully.
Yeah, and you hope that is the right one, right?
What would be your, you know, kind of tough question? I'm sure every interviewer has some tough questions, right? But what's one of you? So tak keluar lah secret tu.
Actually, I kind of stopped giving tough question.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how differentiating it is. I still give the negative question, the strength and weaknesses, and what's your failure in the past.
Yeah.
And so far, those are enough already to differentiate for me.
So
Don't
that's
need
good
to
enough.
go too deep, like giving, if you're a fruit, what kind of fruit you are. No, I don't go down that route.
No.
I know
But
some
there
people like,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, but there are, can still asking questions like that.
I read something recently. Apparently, the question was, if you were given an elephant, what would you do with it? I was thinking, oh, okay.
Okay, so what would you do with an elephant, huh?
Yeah. So we have a comment here from Shanice. I like asking and being asked, what do you value? Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I like that. What do you value? I suppose the rationale of asking this question is to see maybe relationship, either relationship or the life work values or life values.
Yeah.
Personal values.
Life value. What's your priority?
Priorities. Maybe we also should be addressing questions from interviewers, questions yang sebenarnya tak boleh ditanya. Macam mana?
Tak boleh tanya.
Dia tak boleh tanya. So you just baru kahwin, do you plan to get pregnant? Contohnya.
Okay.
So interviewers looking for ni sebenarnya dia nak, because I think there will be some interviewers who will be asking all these questions lah. Kan?
Soalan-soalan nakal tu tak boleh tanya.
Soalan-soalan nakal lah tu. Oh, Ellie kata, I was actually asked if I am married.
Actually tak boleh tanya semua tu.
Tak boleh tanya. So what else would the interviewers will be looking for? Again, it depends, kan, Azhar, to my experience also. Say for example, if you are in an interview with a few panelists, kadang kita seorang je rasa macam scary, kan? Tengok ada 4 orang kat dalam tu, kita rasa macam overwhelmed sangat. And usually my advice is to ask the recruiter dahulu who will be in the panel, because it will give you an indication what kind of questions and how it's going to be run and how many times it will be run in terms of the interviewing session tu lah. So if it's a junior or a start of a junior manager, even junior manager pun, kalau dia kata the panel tu seorang je, HR manager contohnya, you may agak-agak lah yang soalannya, dan mungkin juga there will be 2 interview sessions. One is with the HR and the other one with the hiring manager. So possibly. Kalau junior biasanya HR sahaja. Junior yang non-executive tu, dia hiring manager dia tak ada. Selalunya HR manager or and the recruiter. So they will do. That's my experience. But as you go higher, then maybe the level dia dah tinggi sikit kan. So ramai sikit lah yang duduk dekat panel tu.
Interview kan. Yeah, I think the more the middle manager punya interview kan.
Betul.
So actually there was a question sent to me before, Hanie, about this person asked that for the middle managers going for interview for more senior role,
right?
What kind of, obviously there are different questions for them.
Yes.
What kind of questions are those for this middle manager looking to move up? What kind of things they need to prepare for?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, Azahar,
Yep.
because many candidates thought that the question items will be more or less the same. Actually, not quite. Because as we move along in our career, kan, kita punya career progression ni, there will be more responsibilities, it requires more strategic skills, for example.
Yeah.
So kalau kita dulu non-executive ataupun executive level, we take instruction from our managers. But when we are at a middle manager, actually bila kita dah middle manager, kita dah manager, walaupun assistant manager ke, kita dah manager, kita dah managerial level. So
Yep.
certain skill set which is very crucial, leadership, leadership, communication, executive communication, executive presence, managing conflict.
Yep.
Managing konflik. Dulu kita ada konflik pergi kat bos. Bos macam tu kan. Sekarang
You
ni
report aja.
report je kan. So bila you dah jadi bos, bila you dah at a certain level where you have people reporting to you, you need to be able to manage conflict.
Yep. I agree. That's usually a question that I would ask, because I want to know what is their managerial skill, how do they resolve conflict, and how do they give negative feedback, right? When you have a team member that's not performing, so how do you handle that? And have you had to fire somebody, for example?
Yes. Yeah. And if the situation shows me that this person has managed a team of people before coming in for the interview, I would also, topping off to your points too, questions such as managing departmental budget, for example. So some of the other skills that, financial skills, managing budget, have they done strategic planning, for example, for their own department? Tak payahlah nationwide ke ataupun organization wide, tak apa. Not everyone is at that level, understand. But at least to demonstrate that they still have space to learn, but they have done some activities to demonstrate that. Yeah, but I think as you move along, macam I katalah, at a senior leadership, bila you nak jadi from a middle manager nak naik ke senior leadership, nak head of department contohnya, tu dah crucial lah tu, because you're only like, I don't know, 2 steps away from this CEO, or 3 steps away.
That's right. And then the other thing that normally is asked is more about the strategic vision as well, right?
Yes.
So because you're now going at a higher level, you have to think a bit more forward. You must have more forward thinking. And usually during the interview, they will ask about what do you think the future outlook is? What are the problems that are probably going to happen, and how do you want to tackle that? So normally a little bit, not just a little bit, quite a fair bit of question about the vision, the future as well.
Agree. So it's not exactly a walk in the park anymore, where your simple interview questions comes in. I also will advise that they should equip themselves with knowledge in the verticals that they are working in, if they are going for a similar role elsewhere, because obviously I would want to be comfortable to have a manager or a senior manager who knows what's going on in the business or with the business. The other question that we sometimes forget is how the organization nowadays is so dynamic that they work cross borders. So understanding diversity, understanding equity. So we're talking about DEI and belonging, kan? Because now we're moving towards ESG. Semua orang cakap pasal ESG, tapi the S part tu kita kurang faham apa dia, right? And we talk about diversity, so it's no longer just about talking our Malaysian approach of diversity, you know, the Malays and the Indians and the Chinese and the dan lain-lain, dia kata. No, it doesn't work like that anymore. Because we're working cross borders.
Right. That's right. And understanding different personality and all that are part of that as well. And sometimes you will be asked, how do you manage all these different aspects?
Yes, absolutely. And the future outlook of your own team, for example, you know, when the company is growing, how do you foresee yourself grooming your successors without you feeling that you will be out of job in the next 5 years? That's what leaders are for. You know, they develop people.
Yep. I think some places say that until you develop another leader, you're not yet a leader. Okay?
Yes. So that will put, you know, some candidates who are not ready for that. That I think those kind of questions would be some of the key differentiators to assess whether they have the capability to fill up certain roles or not. And I also would like to give heads up. Some of the organizations are very appreciative over the fact that there's certain core values that they really want to drive. So you need to come in with that certain core values. And that needs to be demonstrated, you know, through whatever means or assessment. It can be, you know, profiling and all that. So yeah, so interviews will be looking for a few things. I also must say this, sebelum I lupa, if in the room there will be a few people who's interviewing you kan, macam Azam, I'm very sure you've done this before, where a few people will be sitting as a panelist. So as the HR will be looking at other parts of the process, of interview process, they'll be asking questions in relation to, you know, HR matters lah, kan, HR matters lah. Yeah. And the hiring managers will be asking questions in regards to the actual job or the actual role, things like that. And maybe sometimes you see the third person, you don't know what that person is doing there.
Just taking notes.
Taking notes, or sometimes as a control, as an observer.
True. Yeah, that's right. Another non-biased person.
Right? Yeah, betul. Kadang you nampak HR, you nampak the hiring manager, tiba-tiba ada somebody from, you know, totally different department yang memang you rasa dia ni buat apa sebenarnya kat sini.
To be there.
Macam tu.
Okay.
Ada. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay, let's move to the next question, Hanie. So
yes,
this one is about what are the common problems that you have seen from the candidates coming to interview? And to the people here, if you have questions, do write in the chat room.
Yeah. I hope you guys also ask questions based on your past experience. I think that will give, you know, the conversation more. So what are the common problems that you have seen? Okay. Biasalah Zahar, list ni getting longer and longer kan. Tapi biasalah, the common ones, for example, so now there are very common nowadays that you get interviews over virtually like this. Jadi satunya dia not present. Dia tak ada, dia ghosted pun ada. Dan juga kalau virtually ni, basically you have to treat it just like you go for a physical interview lah, kan? You kena macam tu. You know, if for ladies and or even for the gentlemen, make sure that you are appropriately dressed. Making sure you test your device dulu, jangan jadi macam I, device I dah penat sehari-hari ni. So know your device punya behavior lah juga kan. Kalau katakan you punya data tu macam you tak ada wifi, proper wifi at home, maybe boleh pergi rumah neighbor ke, or you know, make the effort to have good
Stable
experience.
connection, right?
Kan, give that session a chance for you to bring the best of you. Walaupun dengan dengan kasut tak ada ke apa, it's okay because kita virtual, so you can manage all this kind of stuff.
Bagian bawah tak apa kan?
Bagian bawah tak apa, tapi janganlah you tiba terkejut you bangun kan. And making sure you know what sort of platform they will want you to use. So there's Zoom. Almost everyone I think is quite familiar. You'll be surprised, ada yang tak familiar. There's Zoom, of course there's Teams, of course there's WebEx, and all that.
So Google Meet, some people Google Meet. Kan?
Yalah, banyaklah. Jadi make sure that you know it is expected nowadays. It is expected that you need to know. You don't have to be a subject matter expert in managing all these platforms. It's okay. But you need to know. Kalau katakan WebEx, bukan semua orang ada WebEx that you have to download. Contohnya, kan? So itu yang online lah. Yang offline, of course, the common problems that I have seen, itulah first yang 5 second rule tu tadi, kan? Ada yang masuk body order, for example. Ini common problem. Dia tak, alah Azhar, pening
Pening pasal body order.
Pening pasal body order. Oh, try this. Wet socks. Stokin
really?
berbau. Ini all this order punya problem. Common problems. Dia badan berbau, kaki berbau, bad breath. Yes. Problem lah tu.
Okay.
So then the other problem is that they're not ready. They're not even prepped even. So that is a big problem as well. So those are the common problems. Number 3, terlampau gugup. They get too nervous, they choke. I have seen candidates who literally choked. Dia takut sangat-sangat, kesian.
Yeah, even I have one. I remember one incident. I stopped the interview to
Really
get her to relax first because she was so nervous. Memang dah tak boleh cakap dah. Yeah.
Allah, kesiannya.
Yeah, really kesian actually. So we stopped, just let her chill first, and then we restart again. Yeah.
Oh, poor girl. And one more, I must add this, the interview etiquette. And one of the interview etiquette is, bila dia panggil you interview seorang, janganlah bawa mak you.
Okay.
Ke bapak you ke, tak. No, it doesn't work that way. Dia kena tunggu kat luar. Tak apa, you takkan hilang punya. You won't get lost in the room. So only you sits in the interview.
Right. I think that's a Malaysian problem, God. That one.
Pernah tengok tak? You tak pernah jumpa
That one no. That one no. Yeah.
Oh, I have had that problem.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Ada soalan ni Azhar?
Yeah, so quite a long question from Hui Jen. So she's asking, I would like to learn more on how to prepare for an interview in such a way that the interview will become a mutually right decision of hiring for myself and for the employer, rather than skewing the interview outcome in my favor. Any advice?
Yes.
So
one of my favorite of
Yes.
many questions.
Go on, Hanie.
Okay, so basically, I think it's the mindset. I wrote something today about the 5 P's of interview preparation, and one of it is preparing yourself mentally. And what it also means is that that is an approach where I call it offensive move. So there's offensive move and defensive move. Kan kalau kita pergi main game ke apa kan, ataupun kita pergi battle, nak pergi battle ni. So that's offensive and defensive. Okay, kalau we go in a defensive mode, bermakna kita jadi defense lah. Kita biarkan diri kita ni kena tembak. Okay, orang tanya blow by blow, kita asyik defend je. It will, I guarantee you, it will not go your way, because you're allowing the other party to attack you, you know, and you have lost control. You will lose control. But if you come in with the right mindset that you're helping the organization because you have the skills and the experience, you're coming in the offensive approach, meaning you're coming in trying to build up rapport. And therefore, whenever there are questions coming to you yang rasanya macam sangat tough question, soalan-soalan yang susah kan, you will not be caught answering it in such a way that you become defensive.
Yeah.
Tu dia. Kita ni Malaysians, basically we have been groomed since young to answer in such a way that is a defensive approach. For example, I'll give you an example. If someone asks any one of us, soalannya contohnya ialah please tell me your name. Simple kan? Please tell me your name. Kita akan jawab, my name is. Nampak tak? Kita repeat soalan tu. We lost control.
Okay.
We lost control. So another, so I'll go another higher kind of question, right? So soalannya ialah, have you managed conflict among your team? Please explain to us how have you managed conflict among your team? We tend to pick up the first few words that was asked of us. How I manage conflict was, sebab kita dah di-groom dari sekolah menjawab macam tu. So if we come from the offensive approach, kita menjadi consultant, betul tak? Consultant. And we ask them to clarify the question if we are not clear. See, we take charge again of the conversation instead of letting it flow according to the interviewer.
Okay. Yeah. So we are a partner in this conversation then, right? It's not one interviewer at the top and we are at the bottom. We're at the same level and we are talking to each other.
Yes, that's right. And of course, the next question is might coming from, you know, our listeners here is, what if they don't like the way I'm answering them, you know, by partnering this conversation? Well, my friends, now is a good time to assess whether you want to join them or not.
Yeah, we say what? Okay, thanks, bye-bye.
Kan macam tak gu je kan. And there are incidences where some of these interviewers feel threatened. Dia rasa threatened pula sebab dia rasa dia nak best kan, dia ada job, you know. So I want to make sure that these people listen to my questions. Jadi the ego dia tu take over the process.
Yeah. I think sometimes whatever it is that we say might trigger them as well, the interviewer, and it's their problem really.
Yes.
You cannot control how they react, and therefore when it happens, just okay, it's not for me really.
Yeah. So it's a candidate management too. The experience during the candidate management, I think very, very crucial. So it was both ways. Don't be scared over the fact that you are going for an interview and rasa macam takut nanti Kang I jawab macam ni Kang, dia tak suka, you know, you tipu, tak ada. So coming back to the question tu tadi, come in with the mindset that you have all the skills and experience. And I guarantee you, you know, that mindset tu dia akan shift. Dia akan shift. Kalau you datang, I rasa desperate. You know, I need this job, you know, sebab you ada job ni. The desperation will come out through the choice of words and the behavior. It will come out.
Yep. And then use the interview time to really explore what you want to know again. So part of your preparation, you already have questions that you want to know. These are the important things for me for this role, and therefore
absolutely
go in and explore that with the interviewer.
Yes. Kadang sebab tapi kan kadang-kadang bila dah takut.
Yep.
Skrip tu habis entah ke mana, I pun tak tahulah. Itu sebab kena practice. Kena
Sampai dah
practice macam you
terlupa,
kata.
So ada another question, Hanie.
Yeah.
This one from Fatin. So Fatin said that she is working in a Korean company at the moment. However, they don't have EPF and SOXO. So she's looking for a new job, but she's not including the current job in the CV. So is that okay or not okay?
Berapa lama? 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
2 months, okay. To my perspective, kalau 2 bulan ni tak payah letak pun tak apa, tapi it needs to come out during interview session. It needs to come out. You don't really have to put in the CV. Anything 3 months and below, tak apa, but it needs to come out during the conversation. In the interview, because and you need to get ready for gaps. 3 bulan kan, 2-3 bulan ni ada gaps lah ni. Kalau anything more, bit difficult. So you need to have good response on why there is a gap. Sebenarnya bukan gap pun, you just tak nak cakap kat dia you kerja dengan satu company ni. Kan tahu. Kena strategically answer lah.
Okay.
Fatin, so why don't you want to put it in, Fatin?
Because I was thinking because to me, if let's say I receive a call from any potential employers and then nanti it's gonna be a draggy conversation yang macam nanti macam mana I fikir later kan nanti dia minta pay slip lah, dia minta nanti dia tanya benda that I don't have all those, you know. So I just don't want to drag this question about this thing. So I just want to say that I'm currently freelancing on under events because when I left Asia in last year, June, I was doing freelance events. So I thought of answering that to employers.
Yeah. Are you so the fact that you tidak ada EPF dengan SOXO, obviously I will ask you what sort of employment are you with this organization? Is this contract, project, contract for service? Yeah?
Permanent role.
Pergilah report.
Okay.
Tak boleh kan, tak ada.
Manalah boleh sayang.
I know. I know, that's why I don't plan to stay in this company for long. Because
okay lah, faham. Kadang kita terpaksa kan, kerana terpaksa kan.
So in terms of you as a HR and also hiring manager, so if you see someone in their CV, their last working experience is last year June, until now this person tak kerja dah about 8 months, would you macam call them for an interview session or what is it?
I will.
What's your thought?
I will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at least I will. Fatin, for me personally, I will. You know why? Because I will ask you questions.
Okay.
I will ask you, and because I kind of figure out, kalau you tak kerja 8 bulan tu, contohnya kan, there might be several possibilities je. You tak nak letak you punya current role kat dalam tu sebab it really sucks. Okay. Nombor 2, you tak nak letak apa-apa kat dalam tu sebab sebenarnya you memang tak kerja. Nombor 3, kita kena scope lah. Kita kena scope. What is it? Really?
Okay.
And over the years kan, Azhar, Fatin and everyone else, over the years, I have learned not to assume anything.
Great. Okay.
Kan, we cannot assume anything. We don't live other people's life. There are stories behind every candidate.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say as well. If the CV is interesting enough from the
Yeah.
other aspect, I would interview because
Yeah.
like Hanie said, everyone have their own story. I have no
Mm-mm.
idea what it is. And in
Mm-mm.
fact, we'll make a good interview conversation, what that
I think so
people
too.
in that time. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
And the fact that Fatin, your fear of future employer might be asking for payslip, no, we don't give out salary slip. Can I
Actually,
repeat
cannot,
that?
right? Actually, future employers cannot ask for payslip, kan?
But the reality is they will ask, right?
Yeah.
I kena hantar training dorang ni. Ah. Hantar kat Zahar ke, dekat I ke, siapa-siapa lah cakap you tak boleh tanya benda-benda macam ni. Tu dia.
But it's I was also surprised when I came back to Malaysia. It's a standard practice here. I mean, it's not supposed to be standard, but it's
It's not. It's not. And asking all these weird question. Oh, you dah kahwin ke? You ada plan nak anak ke? Pregnant. Oh, you pregnant lah. Tak boleh lah. Nanti kita punya insurance premium naik. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Fatin, I think to your question, number one, I don't think I think you'll be okay to skip out that 2 months thing in your resume, but make sure you have a story behind it. If you tengok dia punya lab, so ada 8 bulan, 9 bulan, setahun, sebenarnya you ada kerja, tapi ada kerja tapi kena bully kan. Ini people taking advantage ni. I cakap je, you know me. I will say it as it is. Okay.
Alright.
So you've been taken advantage of. It's a permanent, then there is no such thing as when we're thinking of not paying. No, if it's permanent, they have to pay all of this. It's law. How can you? Anyway, yeah. So I will skip out that, and I also make sure I will strengthen my narrative about this duration.
Got it.
The storytelling.
Said that you were doing freelancing work, Fatin, then make sure you are clear what was the freelancing work that you were doing, and if they ask for example, because you're in graphic design and stuff, right?
Events management.
That maybe you have examples of evidence of those events that you actually work on to back up your story.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome. Ada soalan lagi dah, Hazal.
Yeah, so there's this one. So the time is 9:37 already. So Hanie, as usual, we can talk forever. I think we aim for another 10 minutes, if that's okay with everyone. Yeah.
Boleh.
So this
Carry
one
on to do this.
from Amirul about he went for interview and this company asked him to provide 3 months payslip. And like Hanie said just now, it's actually not required, but from my experience working in Malaysia, it seems to be a standard practice, however.
Almost standard lah, unless you give a push over. Sebenarnya kan, my experience and also working with quite a diverse range of candidates from the young and not so young candidates lah kan, pada fresh entries to the senior, is that bila ada certain role yang agak junior, even sometimes up to a middle managerial level, yang tukang proses recruitment ni, dia bagi dekat junior tau. So the junior recruiter and junior recruiters, they have the tendency to follow whatever that's been taught by the senior recruiter, and that includes box checking. It's a box ticking exercise. Minta dia copy my card, okay, check. Contohnya ada resume, check. Ada box ticking. Jadi bila tidak ada payslip tu, dia takut. Because tak complete. Jadi dia tak tahu macam mana nak, tak payah tanya, tak boleh. So,
but
yeah.
susah sikit.
Susah. Jadinya my advice is there are a few approaches lah. So one thing that you may want to consider is to ask, is that a reason why you need this payslip? Tanya dulu, tanyalah. Tanyalah kan. Kalau dia kata, oh, we want to make sure that that you are really working with the previous organization. There are other documents or methods to prove that, but not by payslip, because you bagi payslip, you dah tak ada bargaining chip, you dah hilang. Kan? Unless you really want to work for that company lah, tak apalah kan. Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you, Amirul, for that question.
Ada lagi kan?
Okay, then we have one last question then, Hanie, about so we've done our interview, we've perfected everything, and at the end, do we have to send thank you note? I get this question a lot. Surprisingly, I get this question a lot.
Hantarlah thank you note tu. Jadi kan, to my mind, you nak jadi lagi extra kan? In your bag or your briefcase, the minute you step out from the interview room, you leave a thank you note.
Wow.
Handwritten thank you note. Memorable tak?
Itu memang memorable tu.
Sekarang ni anything handwritten kan very rare.
Yep, that's right.
Walaupun kemungkinan there is a possibility that you might not be recruited for the role, but you know, kindness begets kindness.
Yeah.
And it will come back to you in so many other ways.
Yes, I agree with that. It doesn't take much. If you're not doing the handwritten note, WhatsApp, email, a message over LinkedIn, all very easy to do.
Correct.
But personally, actually, I'm not too fast whether I get it or not. However, I know some people do, therefore it doesn't take much. So just do it.
Yeah, just do it. It just takes like
seconds.
Just seconds. Yeah, it doesn't take much. And it makes you feel good. Remember, professionalism is part of the 5 Ps, what I wrote about today. Professionalism. You cannot control how others take the note and say, alamak, dia ni nak PRI. Tak ada. Doesn't matter. But you know that you're doing it out of your good heart, you know, and it's a nice thing to do. So buat je lah. Thank you note.
Yep, I agree. We have a couple more questions, so we'll do it as fast as possible from Hi. Is it advisable to put in a career gap where spiritual pursuits were taken?
Hesitant to do so because it may be looked down on, but won't be able to answer how I spend the career gap otherwise. Okay. I would put in. So there are a few things might happen if you leave some gaps. If it's not too long, to my mind lah, 2 bulan, 3 bulan. Tapi spiritual pursuit ni, I akan tanya, what does it mean by spiritual pursuit? Kalau I tak tahulah recruiter lain ataupun hiring manager, kok dia tak faham ataupun dia tak suka ke, I don't know. But I will ask if there is a big gap. Setahun contohnya, I'm finding myself, but what does it mean? Because I appreciate mental wellness, the overall wellness. I appreciate that. And if they have to go and do a career break, I will support that. But that's me. I don't know about the others.
I agree. I think anything that shows a different interest that you are personally developing, for me, is fine, and actually makes you more interesting than other candidates for sure.
Betul. So kalau katakan spiritual pursuits, katakan this is a time where spiritual pursuits, religious and spiritual, finding yourself again and all that, I will put if it's more than 3 months, but I also make sure I will prepare the narrative of that break.
Yeah.
Kena tak boleh lah kan. So you really have to
Is clear and concise. Yeah.
clear and concise and practice
Yeah.
well oil practice. Now, what if they don't like your answer? Alah, dia ni pergi spiritual journey, sebenarnya dia tak ada buat apa pun, dia katakan.
We cannot control the reaction.
Yes. And again, it is an executive decision. However, I will question the kind of values of that person who works within that organization. If I get asked that kind of question, I will question that values.
Yeah, I concur with that. Sure.
There you go,
Uh,
Azahar.
Last question from your sister.
Boleh. From my
When-
sister.
When
dia
leaving a
ni.
role, do we leave a thank you note?
For opportunity given, tak ada lah. Okay, so backtrack.
Thanks lah.
Yes, say thank you very much for the experience. Contohnya, I mean, you know, some of us really leave the organization for a better pursuit. Even if we stay for like 5 years, 3 years, whatever months, there have been some experiences that we have gone through. Never mind, there are some toxic people around, but we don't want to go there. We can only control ourselves, okay? So if we have to say thank you, yes, we say thank you for whatever that you have experienced. That's it. That's it. Tak payah nak cerita for the opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Even you know for the past 5 years, sebenarnya toxic situation. Don't lie. Don't lie, but you also don't have to tell everything either, right? In the thank you. No, just say thank you. Remember, the last of the 5P is professionalism. Make sure you are professional enough to leave short note. Close it, off you go.
Yeah, it's apa orang kata, don't burn the bridges kan, because the industry, once you get into one industry, the industry is usually not that big.
Betul.
And people talk to each other, and you
Yes.
never know when you encounter the same people again. So therefore,
Yeah. Azhar, I have a saying lah. If you really have to burn the bridge, make sure the fire is big enough, okay?
Kalau nak burn dia betul-betul.
Ya, betul-betul. You kau. Aduh. So that's me lah.
All right, thank you very much, Hanie. I think we should wrap it up already. Otherwise, we can go on another hour.
Yeah, and we didn't even have a drop from the participants as well. Wow.
That's right. No, so good of them.
Yeah.
Right, then I think thank you, Hanie, for a great discussion again. It's always lovely to talk to you, and always lovely to discuss important topic that's beneficial to the other people who are hearing it. Yeah. So I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure I get more requests to do it again. So let's see. See what else we can discuss in the future on this. So it would be great for the participant if you can write some feedback for us, make us feel happy today. So thank you very much from Ellen, thank you Karen, and from Fatin just now we had a long discussion, and from Thai as well. Thank you everyone who stayed till the end.
Yes, thank you.
So today, basically, I want to recap. We've covered the interview session. So in terms of the steps in planning your career move, now there are already 3 topics that I have covered during my webinars. So next one is about presentation skill. Maybe in about 2-3 weeks time, I'll be doing that topic after this interview training. And in terms of how to make a good first impression, Hanie mentioned that earlier. I do have a physical training this Saturday. It will be at the iconic iconic co-working space in PJ. It's a face-to-face, it's a physical workshop over 3 hours where we learn how to make a good first impression. It's more focused for networking, but also useful, obviously, for interview. Yeah? So if you're interested, you can scan the QR code and you can register there. Or if you have more question about it first, just drop me a message and I can answer your queries. Yeah. And for Hanie, I'll let her introduce her website to you. Oh, this is the LinkedIn page, sorry.
Yeah, this is the LinkedIn. Tak apa, pergilah LinkedIn to her. and that's my shop. I've just opened my second shop, Azhar. It is at careerconversations.com.my. I've soft launched it, so it's still in kind of beta test, so to speak, still tweaking here and there. But I suppose I kind of like it because the things that, you know, all the passion that I have working in this career management space, most of it are already there. And so I invite all of you to come and just, you know, even have a chat. And just like Azhar, I think I'm friendly enough. Azhar is very friendly. He's a cool guy, guys. So you guys need to kind of request for some session with him. Really cool. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Hanie. Thank you again. And a message to everyone here is that when you're thinking about your career move, there are a lot of resources out there. So tonight is me and Hanie, but there are many other career coaches there, or even people who are doing it in their spare time. So do look out for people to help you. Yeah. Don't think that you are alone in your career progression and no one to discuss things and ask for help. There are many people out there. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And Azhar, thank you very much for inviting me again. Really, really appreciate it. It is always a pleasure, you know, having conversation with you. Kalau cakap tu memang tak habis lah ceritanya kan.
1 hour memang tak cukup.
Tak cukup lah. And thank you, really, really.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hanie. Thank you, everyone. So good night and hope to see all of you again sometime. Yep. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.